Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today you're going to write a retell of Luke Goes to Bat by Rachel Isadora. And this is from Second Grade Journeys, Lesson 17. Luke Goes to Bat is fiction. What does that mean? Fiction books are made up stories. Fiction is not real. It has illustrations or drawings. It is pretend. Fiction has characters like people or animals and setting. What is the genre or type of literature of Luke Goes to Bat? Well, there are two types of fiction. There's fantasy fiction, and fantasy fiction means things that cannot happen. It has like creatures that talk or magical animals. Or is Goes to Bat reality? And reality fiction means it could happen, things that can happen, happens in the story. So the genre or type of literature of Luke Goes to Bat is realistic or reality fiction. Realistic fiction. What do we know about reality stories or realistic fiction? Here are some of our noticings, what we notice. The story could happen. The places are real. The people can be real. Animals act like animals. You might learn facts, and it can be funny. So for this lesson, you will need a piece of paper and a pencil because at the end of our review, you're going to challenge yourself and answer this question. What happens in the story? Write a retell. And we're going to use our colors to help us. Green means go. Say what happened at the start or beginning of the story. First, using words like first. And then we're going to slow down and talk about what happened in the middle of the story. And you're going to write words then and next. And then you're going to talk about the end or the finish or what happened last. You're going to say first, then, next, last, and you're going to use those sequence words in your writing to write the retell. So here's our learning target. I can write a retell of the story Luke Goes to Bat using complete sentences. Success criteria. That means how will you know you're successful at writing a retell of Luke Goes to Bat using complete sentences? Well, here are our steps to success. I will say and match the characters and setting. 2, I will say and match the lesson or moral of the story, what the characters learned. I will put the retelling pictures in the correct sequence or order. I will say and match or say, match, and write the sentences to each picture, saying what happened first, later, next, and last. And then finally, you're going to check your writing using my writing checklist. So I will check my writing using my writing checklist. So characters. What are characters? Characters are the people, animals, or objects in a story. Setting. What is the setting? The setting is where the story takes place. Sequence. What is the sequence? Sequence is the order things happen in a story. You're going to write these sequence words first, next, last, that tells what happened at the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and the end. So before we write the story, you're going to say what happened out loud. So you're going to say what happened in complete sentences. So the characters were, who were the main characters or the characters in the story? The characters were, well, the characters were the grandmother, Luke, the kids in the neighborhood, and Jackie Robinson. So there were a lot of characters in this story. The settings were there were two settings where the story took place. The settings were the settings were the neighborhood and the baseball stadium. So now we're going to put the pictures in the correct sequence or order. First, then, next, last. So, what happened first in the story? What did Luke do first? First, Luke. So say what happened. First, Luke. Well, first, Luke sat on the curb and watched the kids play stickball. Everyone thought he was too young to join the team. He decided to practice so he could play too. Then, what happened then? Tell me what's happening in the picture. Then one day, the team, then one day the team needed a player. Luke asked if he could play, and they decided to give him a chance. He got in position to hit the ball, but struck out. So, next, what happened next? Next, Luke felt, next, Luke felt frustrated. Later, his grandma took him to a baseball game. They cheered for Jackie Robinson. Grandma said, "See, you can't give up." So, last, what happened last at the end of the story? Last, Luke imagined, Luke imagined seeing Jackie on the roof. Before the final lights went out, Jackie told Luke that his grandma was right. So, in the end, Luke learned to. What did Luke learn? What was the lesson of this story, or even the moral of the story? In the end, Luke learned to never give up. Even when things are hard, never give up. All right, now we're at the end of our review. It's time to challenge yourself, and you will need a piece of paper and a pencil because you're going to answer this question: what happens in the story? Write a retell. And again, we're going to use our colors. Green means go. Say what happened at the beginning first, then what happened in the middle, then next, and what happened at the end or the finish, last. All right, but before you write, we're going to go over our writing checklist. Make sure you say each sentence out loud before you write it. And my writing checklist. After you say your sentence, write it and use finger spaces between your words. Then use punctuation. Put a period at the end of your sentence or a comma if you see one. Use uppercase letters or capital letters at the beginning of a sentence. Sound out any words you don't already know how to spell. Write the sounds you hear. And then my favorite, read each of my sentences to make sure they make sense. All right, so keep this in mind as you are writing. And when you're done writing your 4 sentences, I'm going to show you this writing checklist so you can check your work. All right, it's time to get your pencil ready. What happens in the story? Write a retell. And again, we're going to use our colors. Green means go. Say what happened at the start or the beginning of the story. So first, Luke wants. What does Luke want? So say the whole sentence, finish it. First, Luke wants. So after you say your sentence, I want you to push pause and write the complete sentence. And when you're done writing your complete sentence, push play. So push pause, write your sentence, and when you're done, push play. All right, moving on to the middle of the story. Then the team needs. What does the team need? Then the team needs. So say your sentence. Then the team needs. Push pause, write your complete sentence, and when you're done writing your sentence, push play. Next, Luke feels. How does Luke feel after that? Next, Luke feels. So say your sentence. Next, Luke feels. Then I want you to push pause, write your sentence, and when you're done writing your sentence, push play. All right, now we're at the end of our story or the finish line. Last, Luke imagines seeing. Last, Luke imagines seeing. Say your complete sentence, push pause, write your complete sentence, and when you're done writing your sentence, push play. All right, it's time to check your 4 sentences, check your work. Using our writing checklist, did you use finger spaces between each of your words? Did you put punctuation at the end of your sentences and commas where you saw them? Did you use uppercase letters at the beginning of a sentence or capital letters at the beginning of a sentence? Did you sound out unknown words when you came to a word you didn't already know how to spell? Did you write the sounds you heard? And then finally, did you reread each of your sentences to make sure that they made sense and that you didn't forget a word or words? So, this is a good time to push pause and make sure you have these things in your checklist. From the checklist, you have them on your writing. And when you're done checking your 4 sentences, push play. All right, here's our learning target. At the top of your paper, I want you to write a reflection. How do you think you did reaching the learning target? I can write a retell of the story, Luke Goes to Bat, using complete sentences. Would you give yourself a 4? I could teach this lesson. I wrote 4 complete sentences and I used my writing checklist. Or would you give yourself a 3? I could help others with this. I wrote 3 to 4 complete sentences and I used my writing checklist most of the time. Or would you give yourself a 2? I needed some help with this. I wrote 2 complete sentences and I sometimes use the writing checklist. Or would you give yourself a 1? I needed a lot of help with this. I wrote one sentence. I did not use my writing checklist. So write your reflection 4, 3, 2, or 1. All right, you can check your work with my example. What happens in the story? Write a retell. First, Luke wants to play baseball with the kids in the neighborhood, but they think he's too young. Then the team needs a player, so Luke asks if he can play. He goes to bat but strikes out. Next, Luke feels frustrated. Later, his grandma takes him to watch Jackie Robinson play baseball. Last, Luke imagines seeing Jackie on the roof. Jackie tells him that his grandma was right when she said to never give up. All right, boys and girls, thank you for writing with me and talking about the story. Have a great day.